Life for All presents Daily Food Series Genesis, The Beginning. Title of Book 3, A River Went Out of Eden by Pedro. Week 1, The Tree of Life and the Tree of the Knowledge of Good and Evil. Friday, The Tree of the Knowledge of Good and Evil. Read with prayer. O wretched man that I am, who will deliver me from this body of death? Romans chapter 7, verse 24. As we mentioned earlier, God placed the tree of life at the center of the Garden of Eden. However, there was also the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. Why did God put this other tree in the garden? Genesis records, "But of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil you shall not eat, for in the day you eat of it, you shall surely die." Chapter 2, verse 17. God is not small-minded. On the contrary, He wanted to give man the freedom of choice. It is as if He said, "I will place the tree of life here because you are to eat from it. But I will also place the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, from which you must not eat. I will do this so that you may see that I have given you a choice." God is so great that He allows man to choose, but He also clearly shows the way of life and the way of death. One tree leads us to life, the other leads to death. Therefore, the knowledge of good and evil inevitably leads to death. It is a lure for man. It was a trap. In fishing, one uses something appealing on the hook to attract the fish and not just an empty hook. Similarly, the tree of the knowledge of good and evil was Satan's bait. When God created man, He made him in His image and likeness and placed within him the element of good, but not according to the human concepts of good or evil. The problem is that by eating of the fruit of that tree, man took the bait. Paul describes this in Romans. "For I know that in me, that is in my flesh, nothing good dwells. For to will is present with me, but how to perform what is good I do not find. For the good that I will to do, I do not do, but the evil I will not to do, that I practice. Now, if I do what I will not to do, it is no longer I who do it, but sin that dwells in me. I find in a law that evil is present with me, the one who wills to do good. For I delight in the law of God according to the inner man. But I see another law in my members, warring against the law of my mind, and bringing me into captivity to the law of sin which is in my members. O wretched man that I am, who will deliver me from this body of death?" Romans chapter 7, verses 18 through 24. By eating from this tree, man died spiritually. When the spirit was connected to the tree of life, everything functioned perfectly. However, when man took the bait by eating from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, his spirit died. Even though the soul desires to do good, it lacks the strength to carry it out. For the good that I will to do, I do not do, but the evil that I will not to do, that I practice. Romans chapter 7, verse 19. Thus, sin entered man and enslaved him. This was Satan's great lure. Not only did the spirit die, but the body also became a body of death. The enemy took advantage of the fact that man was created by God to do good, and enticed him with the deceitful promise of knowing good and evil like God to make him independent from Him. The first reaction of man after being deceived was to hide. And they heard the sound of the Lord walking in the garden in the cool of the day. And Adam and his wife hid themselves from the presence of the Lord God among the trees of the garden. Genesis chapter 3, verse 8. Hiding reveals shame and disconnection from God. Man then began to live in the flesh and was sold into slavery under sin. Jesus explained the root of this in the Gospel of John. You are of your father the devil, and the desires of your father you want to do. He was a murderer from the beginning and does not stand in the truth, because there is no truth in him. When he speaks a lie, he speaks from his own resources, for he is a liar and the father of it. John chapter 8, verse 44. Due to his rebellion, Satan separated himself from God, who is truth itself, and became the father of lies. Thus, the tree of the knowledge of good and evil has its source in the enemy himself. When man ate from this tree, he became connected to Satan, the source of lies and death. Romans chapter 5, verses 12 and 19.